Julian Newman had faced his fair share of challenges on the court, but nothing could have prepared him for what unfolded one night in 2019. It was a moment that would become a devastating chapter in his basketball journey as he came face to face with his ultimate nightmare, Lamelo Ball. The build-up to the showdown between Lamelo and Julian had been years in the making. Both were high school prodigies and social media sensations whose names were known to all youth and high school basketball fans. This game had the buzz and hype of a championship fight, fueled by countless viral videos, memes, and multiple debates on social media about who would come out on top if they ever went head-to-head. At the time, Lamelo had just returned from his stint playing professionally in Lithuania, which was never done by a 16-year-old. Now back in the US for his senior year of high school, he joined Spire Academy, an elite basketball powerhouse in Ohio. He was no longer the undersized freshman on the legendary Chino Hills squad. Instead, he'd grown into a 6'7" phenom, equipped with the kind of court vision, scoring ability, and basketball IQ that had NBA scouts drooling. Julian, on the other hand, was still doing his thing at Downey Christian School under the watchful eye of his father and coach, Jamie. For years, Julian had been hyped as a ball-handling wizard, a kid whose outrageous dribbling skills made him a viral sensation. The Newmans had made a name for themselves through their reality show and countless highlight reels. Jamie at this moment, however, reached his peak level of delusion. Leading up to this game, he even claimed that if Downey managed to shock the world, they would be talked about over NBA superstars like LeBron and James Harden.
You gotta come out wanting it hard. So come out here tomorrow, shock the world, and you'll be the biggest thing talked about in the whole world. You will be. You win tomorrow, no one cares about LeBron. You won't hear about Houston, James Harden. What you're gonna hear about is Downey Christian shocking the world for a week.
Big talk for a game against a team led by one of the most promising prospects in the country. Julian seemed confident as well, strutting into the gym ready to put on a show. But was he really prepared for what he was about to face? Lamelo had grown both literally and figuratively since his days at Chino Hills. He had played a key role in Chino Hills' undefeated season in 2016, played as the lead guard the following season, which included a 92-point performance, and gained valuable experience playing against grown men overseas. This was not the same Lamelo that high school opponents had seen before. Julian and his father seemed to not realize what they were walking into, believing that their flash and one-man show could somehow play a competitive game with an elite prospect like Lamelo. From the moment the gym started filling up, the energy was electric. Fans, scouts, media, and high school basketball enthusiasts packed the stands, eager to witness what was being touted as the matchup of the year. The Newmans carried an air of cocky self-assurance, strutting around like they owned the place. But for those who understood the game, this was more than an uphill battle for Downey. It was mission impossible. If they were going to pull off a win, it would take nothing short of a miracle. Lamelo and Spire Academy came out firing from the opening tip. They took control right away, almost as if they wanted to snuff out any hope Downey had from the start. Lamelo orchestrated the game like a conductor leading a symphony, displaying his full repertoire of skills. He threaded no-look passes through seemingly impossible gaps and drained deep threes with ease. Even as a guard, his 6'7" frame towered over even the big men on Downey. On the other end, Julian tried to do what he always did, flash his dazzling handles and make flashy plays. The problem was, Spire's length, athleticism, and size completely neutralized his usual tricks and antics. With defenders draped all over him, Julian found himself trapped in a nightmare. He couldn't find the space to breathe, let alone the room to execute his crossovers and long-range bombs. Frustration set in early as he realized he was facing an entirely different level of competition. As the game wore on, what was meant to be a heated showdown quickly turned into an exhibition of Spire's dominance. Lamelo and his teammates turned the game into a personal highlight reel. It wasn't just about winning, it was about making a statement. And that statement was clear. Downey had no business being on the same court as Spire. The way Spire toyed with Downey was almost comical. They executed alley-oops with ridiculous ease, throwing down self-alley-oops just for fun, and didn't even bother to play any real defense. It was as if they were having a pickup game during practice against the JV team. By now, the crowd wasn't just watching a game, they were witnessing a demolition, orchestrated by Lamelo himself. But before we get back to the video, I wanted to quickly shout out today's video sponsor, FX Creations. FX Creations is an international fashion brand that brings innovation and style to everything you own and wear. And FX Creations gave us a sneak peek to their latest drop in limited edition, the Evangelion Basketball. Inspired by the legendary anime series, the Size 7 official game-sized basketball isn't just a piece of sports equipment, it's a masterpiece. With its striking design featuring the iconic Evangelion Type 01, it's guaranteed to make heads turn whether you're on the court or just adding to your collection. FX Creations is known for their collaborations with renowned anime series, and they've knocked it out of the park with this one. It's perfect for anime fans and basketball enthusiasts alike, so whether you're shooting hoops or showing off your anime fandom, make sure to check out FX Creations for the Evangelion Basketball. Don't just play the game, stand out while playing it. To get yours today, click the link in the description and use code HOOP at checkout. The stats from this game painted a picture of sheer dominance. Spire shot an incredible 53% from the field, while Downey shot a terrible 37%. On the boards, Spire out-rebounded Downey 53-42, showing their superiority in size and athleticism. The assist numbers were even more telling, with Spire dishing out 36 assists compared to Downey's 12. Lamelo's court vision was on full display, finding his teammates in the perfect spots time and time again. Defensively, Spire was a nightmare for Downey. They tallied 14 steals and 11 blocks, while Downey managed just 6 steals and failed to record a single block. Julian found himself repeatedly swarmed by defenders, and his every move was countered by Spire's length and athleticism. His flashy dribble moves, the ones that made him famous, were now futile attempts at escaping an inescapable trap. Julian's stat line tells you everything you need to know. Yes, he ended the game with 15 points, but it took him 25 attempts to get there, finishing with an atrocious 6 for 25 from the field. Shot after shot clanked off the rim as he was forced into poor and contested shot attempts. It was a performance straight out of a nightmare, the kind that every player dreads when the stakes are high and the lights are bright. Meanwhile, Spire Academy was putting on a clinic. Lamelo played with a sense of joy and freedom, making the game look effortless. He led fast breaks, set up his teammates with picture-perfect passes, and swatted away shots on defense. By the second half, the matchup had become a joke. Spire treated Downey like a sparring partner, showcasing their talent in a relentless parade of dunks and fast breaks. When the final buzzer sounded, it was a full-scale blowout. Spire defeated Downey 117-80, a staggering 37-point blowout that left no room for doubt about who was the superior team. For Julian, this was the kind of nightmare you wake up from in a cold sweat, the kind that shakes you to your core. Despite his 15 points, the context behind those points made his performance all the more forgettable. He was out of his depth against the more skilled and disciplined Spire squad. Lamelo, on the other hand, was flawless. He recorded a triple-double, putting up 14 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds, along with 5 steals. And he did it all with an ease that made it look like he was going half speed. This was a definitive moment that showcased why LaMelo Ball was seen as a legitimate NBA prospect and why Julian Newman was viewed as a player whose fame came from more social media clicks instead of actual talent on the court. Looking back, it's almost laughable to think that there were people who believed this game would be close. Lamelo had been battle-tested since his days at Chino Hills, where he helped lead an undefeated team. His experience playing professionally in Lithuania only further developed his skills and toughened him up for pro-level competition. By his senior year, he had transformed into a 6'7" NBA prospect, one who had offers lining up from professional teams even before he was draft eligible. Julian, meanwhile, was officially labeled as a failed prodigy and a product of social media hype. For years, he had been a YouTube sensation with flashy handles and crossovers that gained viral highlights. And even during his fall-off, platforms like Overtime, Middle School Hoops TV, and Ball is Life were still trying to push him as the next big thing and a household name in the high school basketball scene. But when push came to shove and he faced a real high-level competition, the hype fell flat. The showdown with Lamelo was the final straw, exposing the gap between social media clout and genuine basketball talent. But perhaps the most telling moment of the night wasn't even on the court. After Downey's crushing 37-point loss, Julian's sister Jaden approached Lamelo for a picture. She even went as far as to ask him to follow her back on Instagram. Lamelo's response? A casual, "I don't run it."
Can you follow me back on Instagram?
Yeah, I don't run it.
Huh?
I don't run it.
You don't?
The clip went viral, highlighting the surreal nature of the Newmans' approach to basketball. Imagine that. Julian had just been soundly defeated, and now his sister was fangirling over the player who had just shattered their basketball relevance. It perfectly summed up how different their priorities were. Julian's nightmare didn't end that night. It marked the beginning of his reality check. While the Newmans continued to focus on their reality show and build their online fame, Lamelo stayed locked in on his basketball journey. He made it to the NBA, becoming the franchise player for the Charlotte Hornets. His path was not built on hype alone. It was built on talent, hard work, and the kind of dedication that social media clicks can't replace. And that's the story of when Julian Newman met his worst nightmare. A night filled with hype, drama, and a harsh reality check. This matchup is remembered not for its competitiveness, but for how thoroughly Julian Newman and his dad received the wake-up call they desperately needed. LaMelo Ball showed the world that he was the real deal, while Julian was left to pick up the pieces of a shattered dream. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth basketball stories just like this one. Until next time,